Have you ever looked in the mirror and realized you've been busy for months, maybe years, yet not really living at all? Days blur together like a faded film. You work hard, you feel drained, but nothing you do seems to actually build you. This isn't new. Over 2,000 years ago, the Stoics warned us about this exact trap. Seneca wrote, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And that's why today, I'm going to share with you 7 brutal Stoic truths, harsh realities that will force you to stop wasting time and start building a life truly worth living. These aren't feel-good cliches. They're 7 keys, each one capable of unlocking a door to a stronger, more meaningful you. So, if you're serious about change, stay with me until the end. And if Stoicism speaks to your soul, hit subscribe and join this journey with us. Stoic truth. Number 1. Stop negotiating with laziness. Your greatest enemy isn't other people. It isn't your boss, your competition, or even the obstacles life throws your way. It's that quiet little voice inside your head every single morning. Just 5 more minutes of sleep. Tomorrow I'll start for real. This one time won't matter. That whisper sounds harmless, but it's a trap, a slow poison that kills potential long before failure ever does. Even Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, the most powerful man on earth, faced this very battle. In Meditations he wrote, "At dawn, when you are reluctant to wake, remind yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being." Think about that. A man with armies at his command, with absolute authority, still had to wrestle with the same inner resistance that you and I face every morning. If a philosopher king had to fight it, why should we expect to be exempt? Here's the brutal truth. Every time you give in, you're not just hitting snooze on your alarm, you're hitting snooze on your life. Each surrender chips away at your self-respect. And when you stop trusting your own word, when you start breaking promises to yourself, you quietly become weaker. A person who cannot keep their own word cannot build anything that lasts. So what's the solution? Don't wait for motivation. Motivation is fickle, and it will abandon you the moment things get hard. Instead, build systems. Design your environment so that taking action becomes automatic and avoiding it becomes difficult. Put your shoes by your bed, so exercise is the first choice, not an afterthought. Remove your phone from the bedroom so you can't scroll your way into wasting half the morning. Prep your workspace the night before, so momentum is waiting for you. Seneca said it best, while you delay, life speeds on. Every negotiation with laziness isn't just lost time, it's a piece of your life you can never reclaim. So tomorrow morning, when that voice whispers for 5 more minutes, don't argue, don't debate, don't even think, just rise. Because the second you stop negotiating with laziness, you start negotiating with your destiny. Stoic truth number 2, build ruthless clarity about your life. Most people don't truly fail, they simply drift. They go to work, they earn money, they spend it, but there's no compass guiding them. Their days are full, but their direction is empty. Like a ship without a harbor, no matter how strong the wind blows, it only drifts aimlessly across the sea. Seneca captured this perfectly. If a man does not know to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. And that's the problem. It's not that you lack energy, or talent, or opportunity. It's that you haven't chosen your port. You haven't declared, with ruthless clarity, where you are headed and what you will no longer tolerate along the way. So ask yourself, with absolute honesty, who do I want to become in the next 5 years? What am I willing to give up in order to get there? What values are non-negotiable in my life? These questions are not abstract, they demand sacrifice. If you want health, late nights and heavy drinking cannot stay. If you want financial growth, 4-hour gaming marathons have to go. If you want deep relationships, endless scrolling on your phone must be replaced by presence and conversation. Its clarity is not a pretty dream. It's a brutal process of elimination. It's not just about knowing what you want. It's about identifying what you're willing to cut away. Because until you know what to say no to, every yes is meaningless. This is why you must create a personal manifesto, a written declaration of who you are becoming and what you refuse to compromise. Write it down, review it daily, protect it like a warrior guards his fortress. Because the world is full of distractions, temptations, and people who are perfectly comfortable watching you waste your life. Without clarity, you'll bend to their demands. With clarity, you'll stand unshakable, no matter how strong the pressure. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do, say, and think. When death is certain and time is short, the only logical response is to live with precision. So decide your port, write your manifesto, and then cut away everything that doesn't take you there. That's not harsh, it's freedom. Stoic truth number 3. Stop waiting for motivation. Create momentum yourself. One of the biggest myths holding people back today is the belief that success belongs to those who feel naturally motivated every morning. We imagine high achievers waking up full of fire, eager to hit the gym, write the book, build the business. And so we wait, hoping one day that same motivation will strike us. But here's the truth. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. If you only act when you feel like it, your life will look like an emotional roller coaster, short bursts of effort, followed by long seasons of stagnation. The Stoics knew better. They believed action comes first, emotion follows. Epictetus didn't say, "Wait until you feel courageous, then act." He taught that by acting courageously, you train yourself to become courageous. Discipline isn't about waiting for a feeling. It's about creating momentum that carries you forward, regardless of how you feel. Think about pushing a heavy rock. At first, every inch takes massive effort, but once it's moving, momentum makes the work easier. That's your life. The hardest part is starting. Once you create momentum through small, consistent actions, it begins to carry you forward automatically. So stop asking, "How do I stay motivated?" Start asking, "What small action can I take today to build momentum?" Instead of waiting for the perfect day to start exercising, commit to 10 minutes of movement right now. Instead of dreaming about writing a book, write 1 page today. Instead of planning the perfect business, spend 15 minutes researching or calling a potential customer. These may seem trivial, but they create what mathematicians call the compound effect, tiny steps that multiply into massive results over time. More importantly, each small win reinforces a new identity. I am someone who follows through. That identity will carry you much further than any burst of inspiration. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not waste the rest of your life wondering what a good man should be. Be one. Don't wait for the mood to strike. Don't wait for the stars to align. Act now with what you have. Because momentum, once created, becomes the most powerful force in your life." Stoic truth number 4. Surround yourself with builders, not dreamers. Take a hard look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they building something meaningful with their lives, or are they just talking about it? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Your environment doesn't just influence you, it shapes you. Slowly, quietly, it sets the standard for what you believe is normal. If everyone around you is drifting, complaining, and making excuses, you will eventually begin to lower your standards without even noticing. Epictetus warned, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid by those who do not improve." What he meant is this growth often requires walking a path that most people around you refuse to walk. And if you want to rise, you must surround yourself with people who are also climbing, not those who are content to sink. Ask yourself, do my closest friends challenge me to grow, or do they encourage me to stay comfortable? Do they invest their time in learning, training, and creating, or in gossip, distractions, and empty pleasures? Do I leave conversations feeling inspired to do more, or drained and complacent? If you want to build a stronger life, you must surround yourself with builders. Builders wake up early, not because they have to, but because they value time. Builders train their bodies because they understand that physical discipline fuels mental clarity. Builders learn new skills, not for entertainment, but because they know growth compounds over years. And if you can't find builders yet, then become one. Build with such consistency and intensity that others who are serious about growth are naturally drawn to you. Excellence attracts excellence. Yes, this may mean letting go of certain friendships. It may mean walking alone for a season, but solitude is better than mediocrity. The Stoics often sought solitude deliberately, not because they hated people, but because they knew you must first strengthen your own mind before you can stand firm among the weak-minded. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The same is true of your relationships. You will take on the colors of those around you. So choose carefully. Surround yourself with builders, not dreamers, with warriors, not victims, because in the end, the company you keep will decide the person you become. Stoic truth number 5. Stop consuming to escape. Start learning to evolve. Look around at modern life. Endless scrolling, binge-watching, comfort eating, drowning in podcasts, shows, and news updates. We're consuming more information and entertainment than any generation before us, yet most of it is empty. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't consume to grow. They consume to escape. Escape boredom. Escape responsibility. Escape the uncomfortable silence that comes when you realize you're not building the life you truly want. Seneca warned us centuries ago, we are not given a short life, but we make it short by wasting much of it. And nothing wastes life faster than mindless consumption. Think about the math. If you waste just 2 hours a day scrolling or watching meaningless content, that's 14 hours a week, over 60 hours a month, more than 700 hours a year. That's nearly an extra month of life spent on nothing. Imagine what would happen if even half that time was redirected into reading, training, building, or creating. In just 1 year, you could master a new skill, build a side business, transform your body, or learn an entirely new language. The shift is simple, but not easy. Turn consumption into education. Stop using content as anesthesia. Start using it as fuel. Instead of 3 hours of Netflix, spend 30 minutes reading a book that challenges your thinking. Instead of scrolling TikTok, listen to a lecture or podcast that teaches you something practical. Instead of numbing yourself with junk information, study a craft that can transform your career or your future. But here's the catch, you can't just learn. You must apply. Reading about fitness doesn't build muscle, lifting weights does. Watching videos on discipline doesn't make you disciplined, keeping promises to yourself does. Knowledge is useless until it is tested in action. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." Today, our thoughts are shaped by what we consume. So, if you constantly consume distractions, your life becomes distracted. But if you consume wisdom and put it into practice, your life becomes wisdom in action. You don't need to abandon entertainment completely, but you must stop using it as an escape, because every moment you consume without intention, you're feeding your distractions instead of your destiny. So ask yourself, am I consuming to run away or consuming to rise? Stoic truth number 6. Master boredom. That's where greatness is built. Here's something few people want to admit. Most lives never reach their full potential, not because of lack of talent or opportunity, but because people can't handle boredom. We live in a culture addicted to stimulation. The moment we feel restless, we grab our phones, check notifications, stream something new. We're conditioned to expect constant novelty, constant excitement, and that's why most people never stick with anything long enough to master it. But the Stoics understood a timeless truth. Greatness grows in the soil of repetition. Marcus Aurelius didn't spend his days chasing distraction. He wrote and rewrote his private journal, reflecting on the same principles day after day. Musicians don't become virtuosos from a single performance. They practice scales for hours that would bore the average person to tears. Athletes don't rise to glory because training is fun. They repeat the same drills over and over until their bodies can't get it wrong. Here's the secret. Boredom isn't your enemy, it's your test. Can you show up and do the work when it feels ordinary? Can you practice the fundamentals long after the excitement wears off? Can you find purpose in routine instead of chasing novelty? Every moment you push through boredom, you strengthen your ability to focus when others quit. That's why mastery belongs not to the most talented, but to the most consistent. Think about it. Reading one page when you're excited is easy. Reading when you're tired, distracted, or bored, that's where the real transformation happens. Writing one chapter when you're inspired is easy. Writing when your mind feels blank builds the discipline that separates authors from dreamers. The world tells you boredom means you're doing something wrong. The Stoics flip that idea. Boredom often means you're finally on the right path, sticking with something long enough for it to matter. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not expect the world to be a paradise. Do the work of a human being." Much of that work will feel repetitive, even dull. But if you embrace that repetition, you will become unstoppable in a world where everyone else is addicted to instant gratification. So stop running from boredom. Sit with it. Work through it. Master it. Because the ability to stay steady when things feel dull is the difference between ordinary lives and extraordinary ones. Stoic truth number 7. Act as if failure isn't an option, because regret is worse. Everyone fears failure. But the Stoics knew there is something far more dangerous, far more crushing than failure. Regret. Failure is temporary. Regret is permanent. Failure can teach, reshape, and strengthen you. Regret just haunts you with the question, what if? Seneca wrote, "It is not that life is short, but that we make it so by wasting it." And one of the fastest ways to waste it is by living cautiously, always preparing but never daring, always planning but never acting. Here's the Stoic mindset. Treat your most important goals as if failure simply isn't an option. That doesn't mean you'll never stumble. Marcus Aurelius himself faced military defeats, personal loss, and overwhelming pressure. Epictetus was born a slave and endured lifelong hardship. Yet neither of them allowed setbacks to define them. Why? Because they saw every obstacle as material for growth, never as an excuse to quit. Most people approach their dreams casually. They try, they dabble, they give themselves easy escape routes in case things get difficult. But casual effort produces casual results. And if you approach your life casually, you'll end it with nothing but casual regrets. The Stoic path demands something more radical, full commitment. Burn the ships, remove retreat from your vocabulary. If your mission truly matters to your health, your craft, your family, your character, then quitting can't even be on the table. Ask yourself, which pain frightens you more? The temporary sting of failure or the lifelong ache of never having tried? The Stoics would tell you that the second pain is far heavier. Failure refines you. Regret rots you. Marcus Aurelius captured it perfectly. What stands in the way becomes the way. When obstacles appear, the Stoic doesn't collapse. He adapts. He recalibrates. He turns the barrier itself into the path forward. So when you face the fear of failing, remember, the greater danger is doing nothing. The greater tragedy is living a life where you never tested your true limits. At the end of your days, may you not say, "I wish I had." Instead, may you stand tall and declare, "I gave everything I had to the things that mattered." Because, in the Stoic view, the only real failure is abandoning your mission. Everything else is simply the training ground for greatness. Conclusion. You've just heard 7 brutal Stoic truths. These aren't quick hacks to make you feel good. They're sharp blades meant to cut away illusions and force you to wake up. If these truths spoke to you, drop this simple declaration in the comments. I build my life now. Let it be your promise to yourself, a reminder every time you return here. Because as the Stoics reminded us, time waits for no one. If you found value in this message, like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and join us by subscribing for more Stoic lessons every week.